we're about to start, everyone, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello my lovelies, so I'm Lizzie from Love from Lizzie, and today we are live. We are going to be playing with our Steamboat Willie card kits, which are on their way if you've not yet received. I am going to run through quickly what we have made already this month. So I'm going to flip you over from, there we go. Right, so we did a one sheet wonder and we just used everything from the kits, apart from we brought in the mini stars, which are part of the variety pack. This was our fun fold, which we made a ladder with, and we used the negative die to be creative, but that was our double mountain fun fold. And then we made with layouts, and I used one very true to the layout, and then I did one that was a portrait. I used the negative strip there, and this was obviously a completely black and white card, which would actually be really cute to give to someone with colouring pens or pencils as a gift so that they can colour their own card. And then we used one of these super cute clouds on the Steamboat, which was possibly my favourite piece of ephemera. But I just wanted to run through what we have made, and today we're going to make 5 in a flash, and we all know it's not going to be in a flash. I'll do my level best, but I do need to offer an apology for last week. I do apologise for cancelling our live on Thursday. We were so snowed under, we had so much to do that it didn't feel right not getting everything done. So I thought I would make up for it by making today's 5 in a flash super good fun. So here I am, and I do apologise, and it's lovely to see so many lovely people having joined us. This is my very well-loved stamp now. Well-loved, not cleaned. You decide which is the more appropriate title. I'm totally in love with this cloud stencil, which was an add-on. And the sequin mix, which was an add-on. I think we might have to use that a little today. Then we've got some lovely charms. Essentially, I've still got lots and lots of this kit to play with. And I'm just having a look. This is how I keep all of my things together. I keep my kits together, plus the add-ons, obviously, that I find go with the most. And then if I show you a previous kit at some point, I won't do it today because I'm not entirely sure where I've got one, but once I've used all of my cardstock, all of the bits and pieces I will keep together until there's just not enough. Papers and ephemera always live together though. Anyhow, let's have a little look at what we've got and where, because I've got my add-on papers as well, the red and blue Willie. And I have got, where are my, here we go. There's me saying I keep it all together, and I've separated it out. This is the variety bundle, the specialty bundle, the self-adhesive glitter bundle, and my pin bundle that I've pinched one from, and goodness knows where I've put it. Liam will tell me which colour that is, and I will find it. I may have even put it away, because that would have been half clever. I do every now and then have a little clean up. But we did, this time last week, the reason why we don't seem to have an abundance of our Steamboat Willie cards is because we did a 5 in a flash last week with Forever Friends. And I used essentially the same kind of layout, and I'm just going to show you these because they were really cute. I really loved how these came out. It's a completely different kind of collection, but it's super cute. And there's that fun fold, the double mountain. But I used one of our dies, and this was the same one sheet wonder as we used with Steamboat Willie. So, right, there we go. We have made this month, despite my being poorly one Thursday and needing to work super late last week. But Liam, I'm sure, is looking up to tell me which pinstripe it is that I need to complete for my Steamboat Willie pin bundle. I'm missing one. I've pulled it out and used it. And the blue's the kit, and that's the one I've used the most, so I don't know what I've done. Anyhow, definitely not going to share anything with you that I shouldn't. Which one shall I share? I'm really excited about this class. There's this one. On the 30th of this month, we're going to be making all of these cards. All of the kits are fully kitted. There's no homework. It's going to be fabulous. I cannot wait. And I would have shown you one of the completed kits, but I think Liam's pinched them all. Don't think I've got any up here anymore. Anyway, never mind. Oh, so it is Ruby Red Mirror. Perhaps I've just put that one away being, well, you know what I have? How organised am I? It's right there. It's because I used a little bit. There we go. It's nice to keep everything together, isn't it? Right, everybody. Shall we make 5 in not so much of flesh? I'm just going to pull out all of my lovely bits. Oh, the cork. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a product, and then I'm going to build a card around it. Because when I used to do 10 card 1 kit videos, that was how it would work. I would open my kit up and spread it out all over my desk. I've made a real mess here now. Sorry, everyone. It's not very pleasing to look at. I would spread everything out from the kit, and there would always be something that would speak to me first. And it was usually a really simple thing. Like there was a cutter part that I liked, or I was really excited to use the stamp in a certain way. And it would just sort of develop from there. Oh, I should have poked that out. That would have been last time me going, I'll do that off camera. Here we are doing it on camera. Sorry, everyone. But when I lay a kit out, there is always at least one card that speaks to me immediately. And I know everybody has a different method when it comes to card making. Some people like layouts, some people like casing cards, all of those sorts of things. And they're fabulous. They're, you know, it's whatever works for you. But for me, I will lay products out, and there will be, even if it is just one of my most favourite straightforward layouts that I tend to lean to, I will, I'll get to make one card, and then usually when there is a card made, you'll end up with leftovers or a little piece of paper or a scrap of ribbon, or there's a something that gets left over. So I would challenge myself to make card number 2 using that. And so it would go until I had made my 10 cards. I always tried to use every component. And 10 cards for my 10 card video used to take me 2 days. I would make about 5 cards a day, but that would be a whole working day. Now, I've just created all of these little black dots from our die, and that was just one pass through, and I think we need to use them. I think following this method of what have we got that we can use, I think we're going to use this for card number 1. So we've got black dots. I'm going to move all of my little charms and pieces. But when you sit down with a kit, what is it that springs you off? Is it that you watch a design team video, or you've seen a card made and you'd really like to make something that looks similar? Oh, I'm just wondering how I can use the ropes. And I think that is very indicative. So I want everybody to tell me what they do when they first get a kit. What is their first port of call? Right, I think we're going to do a really straightforward card, and we're going to use this paper, but I'm just going to flick through to make sure. Yes, okay. A happy birthday for tomorrow, Lisa. Many, many, many happy returns. Are you celebrating? How are you going to spend your day? I want to know. Oh, your kit's turning up tomorrow. Well, that's perfect. Now I know exactly what you're spending your day doing. Right, I am going to take, what am I going to take? Oh, I'm going to take Background Builder 2. I haven't used it for a while. Here it is. So this is my very well-loved Background Builder 2. I'm sure given a moment or two, Liam can pull it up on screen. Ultimately, this die set is fabulous. Though I say so myself. Very modest. But what we're going to do is, we're going to make a shaker card. We're going to use our little black rubbishy bits. Making cards with the kit. Well, I'm really pleased to read that, Lisa. It's going to be a lovely day. That's exactly how we should be spending it. We are going to put Steamboat Willie right in the middle of a shaker window. Which I'm going to make black. So Liam is going to scurry over there and pass me some black cardstock. I think it's over there. Or, now that he's actually got up, I'm going to have a look through the specialty bundle. Because I did use my black cardstock from the kit. I have actually got specialty I can use. No, I'll use my bundle, thank you. We'll make it shiny. Sorry. So, we are going to create a frame using this die. If we die cut this by itself, it is just one panel. If we die cut it with this, you get some nice little dots embossed in it. And if you die cut it with this one, you get a frame. So I'm going to create a frame using the black mirror. There's various ways of doing this, and I'm going to show you what I think my way of doing this. I kind of loosely line up where the outer one is going to go. Because these fit quite snugly within one another, I want to make sure that I'm near the edge. And then I will drop. Now, the most straightforward thing to do is to find a piece of tape that you've used a million times before. And I know I get ribbed for this. I'm actually going to go this way because it conserves more of my pretty specialty. I keep my tape and use it millions of times. And I do this to make sure that it's not going to tear my cardstock. I don't want torn cardstock. What happens when you turn, it points up, diamond shape. We'll find out. Once I've cut it, we'll have a look and we'll play. Now, I've taped down my outer diamond. Sorry, Mary, I was reading and not really engaging there. Hello, love. So, I've got my outer frame, which I've now put some well-used tape on. And I'm going to do the same with another piece. Now, I'm using a different piece of tape. I'm not going to try and tape the two at the same time because you'll never get them in the middle. Or if you do, you're very clever and I can't manage that. So I will move this inner one around, as you can see with my fingertips, until I'm happy with where it is and it looks like there is an even border the whole way around. And then I'll tape the lot together. And then whilst I'm holding that down, I'll go and get some more tape and I'll tape it all together again. You can never have too much tape. Never, ever, never have too much tape. And I don't want it to go anywhere. I don't want it to shift when I put it onto my little magnetic plate. Because of how dry it is here, there's a slight bow. Where are my scissors? Everything's put away. It's very alien. Don't know where anything is. I'm going to cut quite close to the edge because, as we all know, I don't like wasting any of my lovely pretty paper. Let's collect those together and I'm going to protect all my tiny little pieces. Let's bring my little workhorse in. This machine has been a fabulous investment. Very pleased with it. Right, I'm going to lay this onto my die cut mat. I'm not going to put it square because then too much at once causes stress on the little machine and I want it to last forever. On the mouse. Okay, Mary, we'll have a look. We'll see which way, because maybe we'll go that way. Right, so now I've die cut. I've got a little bit of rubbish there, let's get rid. And then, okay, remove the frame. If anybody did our Full of Woe class last year, we used this die in the class for one of the cards, and I really, really love it. Background Builder 3 is on its way. Very excited about that. Now, there we go. So I've got my tape off. So now there's the diamond, or the squashed square, as I call it, because it's been squashed, that's cut from the middle. But now we have this super pretty frame, which was what? So you were saying about doing it, we'd have to go right over the middle one. Or maybe we can get away with, eek. Problem is, there's a tiny little bit that's peeking. And, I would rather have like the bust of him in his entirety than try to twist to get or I could just get his whole him and cut off his hat. Anyhow, let's move forward. So I now need a piece of acetate. This is interesting. There might be some in there. The studio got completely repurposed for kitting, as you can imagine. Everything got cleared. So, oh, I'm so clever, there is some. Isn't it wonderful when that happens? Right, I'm going to save this for later. That's going to be a useful one. How am I going to do this? Thank you very much. Right, so our acetate is a heat resistant acetate, which is amazing because it means you can heat emboss over the top. Now, I'm going to cut. I'm going to turn this into a frame immediately. And I am laying my die cut over the top and I'm just cutting, not through the die cut, I'm just cutting under it. So we can move. Oh no, it's stolen 2 of my spots. There's static in here. Right, so let's keep those together. Okay, right. I'm going to need to stick this directly behind. And one of the nice things about acetate is it is actually quite forgiving. And in fact, I'm going to pull you across. Liam's going to show you Background Builder 2 now. Can you scroll on that? Have we got any cards underneath that we're going to show? I'm really making him work for it now. Okay, so the holographic silver on that card is as if we had done a solid. And then if we flip back, and the pattern is just the middle piece. So I've die cut 2 separate bits. Oh, and you can see it even clearer on the next card. So I die cut the whole big piece from pink and then the white, or no, silver mirror? I think it's silver mirror, but yeah. As you can see, oh, these were all from the challenge, weren't they? We did a lot of blog posting with this die set, which was lovely. Oh, that's one of my favourites. So yes, that's Background Builder. That's Background Builder 2. But what I could do is hold this piece over top and then just cut, leaving a border around the edge. Doing that means that there's going to be enough space for me to glue and it not hang out too much. It's very difficult to demonstrate that I've just cut, leaving about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So that can go in the bin. I'll get rid of that. That's going for later. And now I'm just going to pop a load of glue around the back on this. And I'm sorry that there isn't sort of a bit of a show and tell situation where I can show you what it is we're going to make, but sort of making this one up as we go along. It's not a layout, or I know that I'd like to have a shaker card. So that goes down. This goes on, and it's going to splodge out a bit. That is just par for the course. I'm not too concerned. I'll wipe the mat afterwards. But let's just get that on there. Eek, stay on there, thank you very much. Where's my heavy? Okay, in fact, let's use the die cut plates because they are lovely and heavy, because it's got the magnet as well. Off you go. Oh goodness. Right, sorry, that was probably very loud for you guys. Right, let's just pop that on there for a minute. That can do its thing. Now, I'm going to need a card base. Thankfully, here's some I made earlier. Scoreboard. I'm pleased that most of the things seem to be in the right spot. And I've already made the desk look like there's been a small explosion, but... Okay, so 5.5, because this is I'm making this a top fold. It's been cut lengthways at 4.25. Right. Okay, I have my card base. Let's just pretend. Oh, it does look nice that way, doesn't it? We'll go this way, Mary. I'm going to sacrifice the vast majority of this piece of pattern paper because I haven't, if I put it, oh, I suppose I could actually pull it down. Yeah, let's do that. So I am going to take my trusty pencil on this occasion and I'm going to draw very faint. When I used to do design technology at school, he used to call it spider web pencil drawing. So I'm going to pull you on the close-up here because there is a pencil line, but it's so faint and it just means that it's going to be really easy for me to erase, although I do think the eraser might be over there. So I'm going to give Liam an opportunity to look for that whilst I carry on. So, oh, it might actually be downstairs, you know, on the kitchen. Yeah. Right. So he's going to go wander off, meaning it's just us. But I am going to cut about 2/8 of an. That's 1/4 of an inch, isn't it? See, I'm starting to learn. I'm cutting about 1/4 of an inch around my pencil lines, just because I want there to be plenty of purchase space. I may end up trimming it back, but it's much more difficult to stick it back on once you've trimmed it off. So it's not the tidiest of snipping around the edge there, but it's done its job. Now I'm actually going to pop the rest of, well, all of the dies, I should say, back, because otherwise I can see this becoming a little bit of an over the topness. The only other thing I may want to use is that label die, because I think that's going to work quite nicely with some of the sentiments on the stamp set. You see, this is the problem. I can't even see the stamp set. I've made the desk into such a mess now. You see, All Aboard will fit on, and Bon Voyage will also fit on there. So I may want to use that one. We'll keep that one up top. So, oh, it was exactly where I said it was going to be. How funny is that? Thank you. Right, so I am now going to erase my pencil lines. Just so that I know where I'm going to want it to sit, because, well, I can't go beyond the top, but also I want to have Steamboat Willie as central as possible. Okay. But it means that if I do slightly deviate, no one will know that I cheated and used a pencil. So let's have a look. If we put Steamboat Willie right there, and then, oh, how cool is that? Even just like that, it doesn't even need to be a shaker, does it? Right, but we're going to try. We're going to have a go. Oh, flicking the dies around all over the place. So I am going to use a skinny strip, and I don't want, yeah, well, I can't deal with the waste. So I'm going to go as close to this edge as possible, because we've got these little scallops. The white is quite possibly going to show through, but it's more important to me that we don't lose the shaker pieces. And I'm just gradually, on the close-up actually, working this strip around the corner. And so I'm just very gently sort of bending and then using my finger to hold, and then, so you sort of coax it around. Another way, if it's being a little bit of a stick in the mud about it and not wanting to bend, is you remove the release paper from it, and then that will help you get it to guide round. Now, I don't need a whole one, but I'm going to have to pull the whole thing off. So, ooh, this is being a meanie. Okay, and now I'm going to start from the other end. Sorry, no, I'm not. I'm going to carry on doing what I was doing, and I'm going to continue that all the way to the end. I butt those two up there just as close as humanly possible, so that there's no room for escape. I'm going to snip the end of this, which I've allowed to hang over that corner. Gosh, these are super sticky. These are new to me, these strips. So please bear with me. Right, now I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to push this foam strip up just as far as I can. Sorry if my head's in the way. And get that stuck on, and I'm going to follow it around that corner again, as I did with the other side. Just gently press as I go. What have I done here? I've stuck it down upside down. Brilliant. Do as I say, not as I do. So I'm having to pull the release away from the underside so that it will stick. But if I can manage to do it upside down, everyone should be able to do it the right way up. That was the teaching moment there, I'm sure. Right, I'm going to put this back. I don't need it now. Take that bit off. Okay. So I now have, from the front, you can see some very tiny little bits of white, but once we pop it over the white card, it's not going to be particularly noticeable. The only other way that we could have avoided this is, before we put the acetate and the foam on, we could have laid it over another piece of patterned paper and then drawn a wider border to stick the frame onto. I didn't want to do that. So here we are. And what I'm going to do is, I need anti-static powder, because we live in the land of pure static. And I'm going to rub this in all the little nooks and crannies around this frame. so that if there is any sticky bits, it's making a horrible squeaky noise, I'm sorry if that comes up on the mic, then that way our lovely little waste pieces aren't going to get stuck too hard. But let's have a look. Oh, it's so pretty. Let's move the card base out of the way, because for this bit I'm going to scoop and just lay them right on top in the middle, not in too much of a pile. You don't want to have like a mountain, because then they can get a little bit wedged. But, and at this point, if you wanted to add some of the sequins, that if you've got some sequins, they would be a really lovely addition. Of course, then these aren't, there's me talking about being the land of the static, because it's just cardstock. It doesn't want to stick to my fingers very well. So let's try a scoopy method. No, not going to play ball, is it? What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide them off the edge of my desk onto the card base and then chip. There we go. Right. So now they are all in the middle and they are in a single layer. I'm going to now remove all of the backing, well, that remains. Most of it came off on the first go. Okay. Now, very carefully, going to position, excuse my head if it's in the way, over the top of Steamboat Willie, making sure that I've got the cane and his hat, and there, that's where I want it to go. Now I'm going to give it a really nice firm press down. And I am going to now, on the close-up is going to be better to see. As you can see, there is a lip of patterned paper that hangs out. And when I flip that over, you can see that through, which we don't want. It's not ideal. So now I'm going to very carefully, because I have got fine tipped scissors, gently tuck that in and lay it next to the foam and just give it a little trim. I don't even need to see, because I know the scissors aren't going to want to cut into the foam unless, you know, without some resistance. So all it did, by chopping the piece of patterned paper slightly larger, it just has given us a little bit more wiggle room on where we wanted to stick it. Now you see I've stuck it really close on that edge, which just goes to show, because I did leave about 1/4 of an inch, so I obviously wanted to protect it a little bit more. Now, that's really good fun. Isn't it? Right, okay. Blithered on enough about that now. Sorry, everyone. So, we now have our card front. Now, I can actually see a little bit of foam peeking here. And depending on how brave I was feeling, I could try and peel it up and encourage it out. But I'm actually not going to do that because we are live. And I am now just going to decide how I am going to land. And if I'm going to do it with a little bit of paper, I think it needs to be a really simple piece. And we have got the blue stars, which are very cute. One of the things that I really like about this collection is that we've got all the busy papers, and then we've got some really nice calm ones as well. Like the stars look really good. Let's just have a very quick look. I'm going to be a little bit cheaty here and have a little look in some of the add-on papers. But having spent so long packing orders, I do know that most of you have got them. So I don't... Oh, that's psychedelic. I don't feel too bad. Oh, that would look nice. Don't want it to be too blue though. So maybe I shouldn't have looked at blue. Maybe I should have looked at red. Let's just see. I that looks really good. Shall we use a bit of check? Or is that going to be too much? Oh, it might be too much. I think we're going to use the dye. I'm going to behave myself and stick to the kit. I think what happens is I want to make the kit as big and involved and all-encompassing as possible. But then what happens is I get carried away with myself and I don't know when to stop. And then I end up with having to do so many add-ons. Now, let's just run the dye. It's not going to hurt to run it, is it? We don't have to use it. So I'm going to use some more of this specialty from the add-on bundle. I'm going to lay my cardstock down and pop the dye on top, doing it slightly at an angle. Now, of course, if I'd have thought this through, I could have die cut this one and then used all of those little bits as well inside the shaker. But here we are. This is what organic card making does look like. At least I can't be accused for preparing it all. Right. So, I've made such a mess in here already. No time at all. Okay, so let's remove those. Now, I'm just going to pop this over here for a minute. I don't get to see very much of it if we... Oh. I actually quite like that. I think we'll go with that. I love the striking black and white. Obviously that was apparent with last week's layouts where I did just a black and white card. Right, I'm just going to pop the smallest amount of glue because I don't want it all splodging out. This is a mirror cardstock, so it will show essentially. Just a few little dots here and there, enough to make it hang on. And then I'm going to pop that over to one side, about 1/2 inch, or maybe slightly more than 1/2 inch in. I'll measure it once I've got it stuck. I absolutely love this die. It may be one of my all-time favourites. There's so much that we could do with it. We could run through all of the pattern papers. You know, we could take take clouds to make it like a sky one, and then the next one along, we could take Willie's face. Oh, it's just so many possibilities from just one die. Okay, right, so that's now on. We can add this here, and then I think we can just on some regular white cardstock, if I've got any. Should have some, she says. Sorry, and that was me trying to knock off some of these little black bits. I'll save those because you never know. One of the nice things about this was because it wasn't the specialty, there isn't the white on the back, which you would get. Because this was from black cardstock, it is black front and back. So we'll pop that there. But where is my white stamping? Is that over there? Anyone's guess, isn't it? Sorry, everyone. Can you have a look over there, please? I tend to keep my little pieces of white cardstock in the folder. Sorry everyone. I'll get the stamp ready whilst. That's it. Thank you. So I have got packets of our brand new cardstock, but I feel really reluctant to use them. So I have these folders and I have one for each colour. I don't need any of the others, thank you. And so this is our white, and I just need, yeah, just a piece that would have otherwise gone in the bin. And I'm going to stamp, I'm going to die cut it first because this is a solid die. So unless you're going to keep a template, which we could do, let me show you how to make a template. It's really not tricky. Here's a piece of tape that I had earlier. It's been stuck on my hand the whole time. So to make a template, you get a piece of card that's ever so slightly larger. And we're going to pop this through. I don't do very many solid dies, but because this one had the embossing, I wanted to keep it all in one piece so that it was really lovely and stable. But this is the sentiment die, as it were. This was what when I designed Background Builder 2, I wanted it to be a solid piece for our sentiments to go on. So what we do now is we use this, got 2 corner pokers. So you pop, and then you can just take your piece out, and then you've got this really lovely rectangle with the dots. Now, if I didn't want to try and stamp on a small sentiment tab, which is completely understandable because it can be tricky, what you do is you keep this bit. Now, this piece, I am going to, oh my goodness, let's clear the decks. Alive. So, let's take the tacky bits of tape off me as well. It's not a good look, is it? So, I am going to want to stamp Bon Voyage, and I want it to be in the middle of my die. So, to do that, I have created now a template. And I'm going to lay my cardstock behind my template. And I'm going to magnet that down. So far so good? We all together? I'm going to take my Bon Voyage and I'm going to lay it within the recess that I've created. Close that down, take my stamp up, and now I'm going to move my mask away. Now I'm going to get my VersaFine. Give that a little inking. Little tap tap. Flip it over and give it a kiss. Give it a firmer kiss. I'm actually going to go one more just to get that really lovely crisp look. This little ink cube has been a real workhorse. It's been through make and takes with me. It's been everywhere, and I've never re-inked it. It's been a real fabulous one. There we go. So we've got a lovely Bon Voyage now. So if I reintroduce my template, that is in a really nice position in the middle of it. So I'm going to pop that there. Now I'm going to find my die that I just flung across the room. And I'm going to lay it on top. Now the tape that I removed, I'm going to stick onto the mask, and then I'm going to stick the paper to the mask. Are we there? Is it making sense still? So this now, all together, including the mask, gets put in the die cut machine. And then it gets run through. So the mask, it runs as a template to keep the guide in the right spot. So we now can pull away our tape. So that's what we just had stamped on. This mask is going to go back into my background builder 2. Both of these pieces are going to go into the back of my background builder 2 packet. Because if you've got masks or stencil covers or anything, they should live so that the next time you craft, you haven't got to create another one. So, tape, tape, plate, clean the stamp. Right, oh, there's another bit of tape everywhere. And then, so this card definitely wasn't flashy, was it? Not a quick one, but it's been fun and it's a pretty one. So I hope I'm forgiven for not being quick. Okay, let's get that over there. This needs to go back. Sorry to make you all watch me tidy, but otherwise I'll lose the die and then I'll be sad. So, have I just put the die away with, I have, my sentiment in it. At least I realised it before I had to ask for everyone in the comments to tell me. That would have been really embarrassing. Okay, so I'm now going to pop out my sentiment. Should have let the ink dry, so I'm going to have to clean that as well now. But now I have Bon Voyage right in the spot that I want it. I can pop that down here, I can pop this here. Oh, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to get some tumbled glass. It is. And we need a blending tool, which I should have somewhere. No, my little wooden handle. What have I managed to do with that? That's what happens when you tidy up, you can't find anything. In that tub down there, there will be one. Thank you. Right, so I'm just going to take that off. That goes back in the tub, please. Right, so, gosh, I'm going to take my little, and I'm just doing this to blue it up a bit because of the background. And I'm just going to take the edge off of the white. Not doing anything fancy, just dragging it over because it will also help it stand out from our card base. The other thing that we could do is we could stick it onto a piece of black. Which I have actually got a little scrap piece here which we could do. Well, you know what I'm going to. Sorry. This is the never-ending card, isn't it? Sorry, everyone. But it's going to make it look very pretty. So I think it's worth it. If you all have anywhere to go, you may want to get on the phone and cancel. If you need to put your dinner on or marinate the chicken for your dinner, perhaps bring it through and do it whilst we craft, because as I've got another 4 to get done, And apparently I'm not being particularly timely today. And what I'm doing here is just with my scissors, I'm just trimming this down. I only want like the tiniest of black borders around it, just to give it just a little more definition. I don't want it to go centre stage because we've got Steamboat Willie that is centre stage. A little bit more off of this side. Just giving it a little bit of a haircut. There we go. Perfect. So that now can go back into background builder 2. It doesn't have my sentiment. And I'm going to stick this one completely flush because we've got the foam in the shaker. There we go. Making sure that I'm not overhanging. And then I'm going to pop a little bit. I'm actually going to use the same foam that I used on the shaker so that it's all the same height. I do enjoy there being some balance. Bon voyage. And then I'm going to just take my mini open star and a small acrylic block. Because we've got the open star in the background, I'm just going to add just a few here and there. And I'm going to call that one done now. Or does anyone think I should add to it? Should I use another one? Okay. Okay, so the first card, we went in with a shaker, we used up some waste, and that was how we ended up there. Okay, card number 1. Should we make card number 2? I would like to use something with our steamboat on, I think. What have all lovely ropes? Have we got a little perfect? Okay, card number 2. Let's get a card base. Oh, I'm going to start throwing that on the floor. Right, card base. We're going to score at 5.5 again. Right. Fold it into the score line so that you get that lovely mountain on the inside. Now, for this card, I'm going to have some of the rope to the side. Then I'm going to have a section, and then I want to use some of these lovely cork pieces, the cork stickers, because I think they're going to be fun. So I'm going to need my little chomper, and specifically, oh, I want one with lots of knots in. So I'm going to cut, let's have a look, so that in case you want to replicate, that's 1 inch. I am going to go for 1.25 inches of the knot paper. Well, I'm not quite sure what knot that's supposed to be. It's an interesting one. I'll go with that. Right, and now I've got 1 1/4 inch here, and I've got 4 1/4 to work with. Now, my little cork pieces are, if I say that they're 3/4 of an inch wide, I think that's probably reasonable. So I've got 2 inches used up here, and I've got 4 1/4. So that means I can have 2 inches if I want to have a little bit of a border around it. So let's have a look at how wide this Steamboat is. Oh, that's fabulous. So I am going to cut here. I'm looking at this. This one's got Willie and the boat and the parrots, this row. So I'm going to chop right along this edge, which is the inner edge. Let's move that out the way. So I chopped straight down so that these boats are complete. And I want to make this 2 inches. So actually I can afford to come a little bit less. So I'm going for 1 7/8 instead of 2 inches. And I will save that because we have got Steamboat Willie and the parrot face. So that's not all for naught. So we're going to have some of our knots right at the edge, I think. Then we're going to have the brilliant pattern. And then I think we're going to have a little row of cork. Yeah, let's just see where it goes, shall we? I'm going to stick these flat. And I'm not going to be too bothered about saving the extras. So I am gluing the whole of the back, and I will trim off any extra, and then that will just be going into the bin. So right up on that left-hand edge, I have to do this. I'm very good with left and right. I've never understood it, how, you know those people that do like yoga classes or aerobics? I can barely work out what my left and right is on the good day, let alone doing it and then saying it backwards. Right, that's a skill. Ooh, let alone doing any sort of class at the same time as you're trying to work out. Okay, so let's get, I want the boat, so where this boat's being chopped off, I don't want to move it up because then I'll lose that part. So I want the boat. So I'm going to stick it, and then this bottom part will get trimmed off here with the parrot. So I'm making sure essentially that my gluing at the top is on point. You can also put glue on your card base if you prefer that. You'd have to be very good and very disciplined with your measuring, because you don't want to have too much glue sticking out. Otherwise you're going to have shiny bits. Now I've looked at that top edge and I've lined up, and now I'm pushing the paper from this top side as I lay that flat, because I want there to be a really nice tight seam there. I'm going to use a clean brayer. No glue worms today, thank you. And then open it up using the card base as my guide. I will snip away that extra piece, and of course it lands glue side down, it's just like toast. Now I have these 2 lovely pieces, and now I've got this cork, which is going to be fun. So I'm just going to add them almost like buttons. I see some peel-offs are in the future. They absolutely are. Right, I'm going to turn my card onto its sides. Now here, as you can see, there's numbers on my mat. And I'm laying this, so I've got 1/4 of an inch hanging over here and 1/4 of an inch hanging over here, meaning that this is the middle, this line right there, where my scissors are pointing. That's the middle of my card. So I'm going to take one of my cork circles, and I'm going to line up, in fact, where's my palette? So this little trowel thing, that for want of a better word, I am going to look at the middle line and then the width at the top and the bottom. I want it to sit. It's almost, you know those Victorian buttons? They used to be just rows and rows of buttons. And so I'm going to do the same again here. I want to find the middle between where the end of that is, and that would make it here. But the problem is with having it there, there's a lot of white space. I want to actually fit 2 in. So 1 goes on there and 1 goes on here. Now I'm going to do this by eye, which is, gosh, quickly have a sip of water. He hasn't even noticed. It's for the best. Right, these 2, I'm by eye going to space. I can see, the other thing, again, draw some spiderweb lines if it helps. But I'm going to sort of, I'm going to say that that's about good for that one. It's never going to be perfect, but then I've made it, so it wouldn't be, would it? And then, eek, that was really stuck on there. Okay, so the cork stickers are sticky. And now I'm going to take another 2 and do the same thing again. Attach on the tip of my trout. I'm not going to press quite so hard as I did last time. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to look at this and the others and try to place, I think that is about equidistant. Let's get that one down and then 1 more. I think that's probably about right. So, how cute is that? And it's got this really fun spongy cork to it. So, now we need some peel-offs. Now the ones that come in the kit are actually going to work beautifully, although any of them from the bundle would work really nicely as well, the pin bundle. I was just having a quick glance in case I wanted to go off-piste, because the blue would work, the green would work, the ruby red, and the yellow with the gold finish. But I will use what came in the kit, so that this is another really easy one to replicate if you've if that's your fancy. Now I'm not going to bother with a peel off on this outer edge because it's going to be risky in that position anyway, but I'm going to peel off both of these edges. This particular one, I'm going to use the middle width. And I'm going to actually stick it on the patterned paper, because when I placed the cork, I left an even amount of white on either side, and if I stuck the peel off directly to the card base, then there would be too much white on this side and not enough on the other. So consider that, of course, if you want to stick the peel off to the cardstock, do that first. Now I'm going to take the widest of the 3 widths and I'm going to run that directly over that seam. It's going to go like that. I'm going to trim off both of those bottoms. And now, I almost want to leave it just like that, but I shan't. I'm gonna keep playing. Like they're just too cute, these bits. They really are. A little anchor. We could do an every other as well. I did use one of these anchors already, so I don't have 5 left anymore. But if you don't make the previous card that I made, yeah, close up would be lovely. There we go. If you don't make the card that I did before with the charm, or if you used a boat charm, then you could actually put one of these on each of the corks, which would look pretty good. The other thing we could do, we could put all 4 down and then we could have a sentiment running off of the bottom. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use one of them. I think one is special enough. And then let's have a very quick look. Oh, they're just too fun. Too much fun. Oh, and you know what we could do? Instead of my charm, we could, oh gosh, just pop a couple of stars on. Just so that each one is different. I think we're going to do that. And then, how are we going to lift? Let's pop the charm back. So, I need to, got this lovely mesh, haven't I? I've got my mesh, I've got my ribbons, I've got the rope. Spoilt for choice here. But this I thought was like fishing net. So that's going to work really well. Okay, so I'm just going to trim off ever so slightly larger than my helm. Now, this has got wire that runs through and it is very pretty and sparkly. I'll go on the close-up and show you. So there is that wire piece, so you can sort of manipulate it to sit in a certain way if you want to, but it has got glitter, both tiny and chunky flecks, as you can see. So okay, pop you out of the way again. So I think having our helm on here, and then we'll pop that there. I almost want to use the smaller stars. So I think I'm going to swap out a couple of those, and then we'll go, oh, that's perfect. There we go. This is how I'm just going to use the little stars on there. There we go. Let's get this all stuck down. This is one of my favourite ways to craft. As I sort of mentioned earlier, when you start playing, pick a thing. If you're not sure where to start, because that can be really overwhelming. When you've got a lovely craft space, or you've got a whole selection of supplies, because I do it so often in the evening, I think, oh, I'm going to make something. And then I come in here and I look and I'm like, oh, I've got all of these lovely kits and I just don't know where to start. So the best thing to do is just pick up one thing and just start playing with it. And it's the same with a kit. It can, when it all turns up all at once, be a bit overwhelming. So if you just choose that one stamp, that one sentiment, or that one piece of ephemera, or that charm, or whatever it is that you want to work with. And what I really wanted to do, we use these little cork circles because they're so much fun. And the reason that I associate cork with boats is my dad was a sailor, well, he still is, and he always had a big cork ball on his keychain. And it was because if he dropped his keys in the water, he didn't want them to sink. So yeah, so I always just associate cork floating things, which is what you want. You want everything to float when you're near the water's edge. So that just made sense to me to put these with, and therefore cork boat net for fishing. Not that we ever fished really. That was not our thing. Now I'm going to have a bit of a nightmare lifting this. I'm going to have to use some of my little dinkies because I don't want it to show through the net. So the easiest way to achieve this is I'm going to stick some of the lifters, oh gosh, it's alive, behind the helm, and then so I've put 5 there, which should be plenty to support. I'm going to take these off, if it will, so static. And then we're going to stick this straight down. And I'm quite happy that this is a little bit bent and a little bit wobbly. I don't want it to be perfect because fishing nets often aren't. And now I'm going to wet glue through on those foam pieces because foam wasn't really designed to stick to glitter netting. So wet glue to give it extra purchase. That will work both ways because I'm about to stick another foam square on top of each of those blobs of glue. Now usually you don't need to do glue and foam, but I'm not going to rely on the integrity of the stick of the foam square because I don't want the card to fall apart. So I'm just going to let that actually sit for a moment before I try and take the backs off because they're going to want to just come away in my hand. But I think that is going to... What do I want to put in the middle? Have I got a little something that I can... Usually I'd put a nice big gem or a charm, but there aren't any in this kit because I tried to keep it a little bit different from our usual offering of gems. I mean, I could, in fact, return to the anchor. These little anchors are very versatile. And we could pop one right in the middle, but I think it would get a bit lost. So, and the cloud won't work. I mean, we could put the buoyancy aid. But I think I'm going to leave it as it is. And I could, let's see, how are we? Oh, I think I might be able to get away with taking these off now. I just don't want to pull them away. Let's see. Oh, gosh, no. Eek. It's not the easiest of things to try and do. It will all dry nicely, but when you need to do a thing with something wet because you're live, you're making your life difficult by trying to achieve it. Did everybody have a nice weekend? Did people manage to spend it with friends or family or in the craft room? Of course, I can't see any comments at the moment. Sir? Yeah, thank you. What have I got? I managed to get 2 of them stuck to me now. Doing really well here. Right, so let's get that back on there. Oh gosh, and another. So look, let the glue dry when you do this because they're now sticking to my fingernails. I'm getting glue all over me. Thing is, I don't need to put glue on this side because it's only going onto paper. Dear, oh dear. Okay. So let the glue dry. That's, if you take anything from today's video, oh my goodness. Stop, stop. Ha. Right, I'm gonna stick this down. And then I'm not going to touch this card ever again today. Right, I'm going to leave a slight edge at the top and at the bottom of the net so that it's not hanging off. And then I'm just going to press that down and call it done before it tries to come away again. Blue sequin in the middle. Yep, any of the sequins would look really pretty. But I am going to leave it as is, just so we've got a card, because this card can be 100% made from the kit. This one you need background builder too, but everything else is from the kit. I'm really sorry to read that, Mary, darling. Right, we are going to move on to card 3. I'm hoping, I feel hugged. I feel very big hugs. I'm now going to pick, I'm just going to pick a product that I want to work and build around. And it's going to be one of these little tugboats. I'm going to take 3 of the clouds and a boat. And we are going to make a toot toot toot. Somehow we're going to go like this. So I need a side fold card. Okay. And then I'm going to build a little bit of a scene, which is not often where I go. So this was a sheet of American letter cardstock split on the width side at 5.5. So then I score it at 4.25 because I'm going to make this one a top fold. And to make a scene, this is where you get to be a little bit loose. Now, fast and loose. Now, when we did this last time, it was on the fun fold, and I ended up putting a ladder to between Steamboat Willie and the cow. So let's see where we end up today. So we need water and we need the sea. So we need water and the sea. We need the sea and we need the sky. See? That's a little bit too obvious, isn't it, as the sky? So let's have a look what other we have. Oh, we have stars. The alternative is that we leave the sky white. We could stencil some clouds in. That's also using an add-on, which is naughty. I like the idea of using the anchors as paper because it's not wording well anymore, am I? Sorry, everyone. I like the idea of using the anchors as the sea. Thank you, Doreen, for laughing at me. Appreciate that. And then I could do a bit of ink blending at the top. And then the stamp, it's got to be all aboard, directly above our little steamboat. Let's just start and see where we end up. That tends to be my my best method when trying to create something a little bit outside of the box. So to start with, I'm going to need a pencil. We have got various options for this. I have got a stencil, and I think it's in that basket. There is my Ziploc bag, and I think my Sleepy Seas stencil should be in there. Could you have a little look, please? Oh, I have got one there, but I haven't used it. I don't want to destroy another one. Perfect, thank you very much. So it's organised chaos in here. I have a rough idea of where things are. Okie doke, well you can have that back. So, this is my CPC stencil, which if you have, great, and if you don't, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to do a little bit of cheating here. I'm going to make sure my anchors are the correct way up. I've turned it on the side because it'll be easier for me because I'm a lefty. So this is the top, and I'm going to draw around my wave pattern just by putting it on the cardstock, making sure that none of the points of the waves go over top, and then I'm just going to very gently, and this is the reverse side, so I don't need to worry about spider webs. I just need to make sure that I don't dig through the paper. Ask me why I mentioned doing that. And then just very loosely going around. So I've created that wave pattern. So a stencil is many, many, many different options. Now, I am just going to very loosely, and there are different dies that you can get to do this for you, but cutting along a pencil line I find much easier than to just start snipping. Now it's just occurred to me, I want my little boat to sit comfortably, so I'm just going to make that wave. I'm just going to trim. Back to front. I don't want the waves going that way because the boat goes this way. So that's how we fix that. Flip my stencil. Thank you, Doris. Yes. You got there before I did. Okay. In the replay of this, I'll chop this chunk out. Probably won't. I'm all about the honesty. Right, so I want my stencil to be this way round because I want the boat. I am still going to be trimming this wave out. Or I could even trim that wave out. But I'm going to trim a wave so that the boat sits nicely and we don't have to have it sat up on a wave. You did try, Dale. If someone had been reading the comments, I might have actually been caught in time, but there we are. So I am now no, I've done it again. I want my waves to be that way. That's it, right. This is how I'm doing it. I think. I've got myself all in a kerfuffle now. Yes, that is the way I want it. That is the way. I'm there. Right. Now I'm just going to start. This is not ideal, is it? Can you have a look to see if my Nimbus stencil is in the second one in on the top cubby? Too far, other way. That's it in there. It may not be. Right, so now I'm going to try this again, where I'm going to trim away. And what I'm going to get... Thing is, Doris, I love crafting. I think I'm quite good at it at times. I can be quite creative, but my spatial awareness is awful. We moved to Calgary over 2 years ago now. I still put my sat-nav on to drive Carson to school. Now, I do know the way to his school, admittedly, but I do it so that I don't have to think or use any bandwidth about the direction that I'm going in or which turn-off it is, because my brain just doesn't work like most people's. Most people go, oh, it's on such and such Ave. No, it's fine, it doesn't matter. It's on such and such avenue. I've got no idea where that is. I don't know where that, and the same when it comes to distances. My brain just doesn't want to work that way. So thinking about something in flip or upside down or reverse, I would fail the IQ test for that. I'd pick up points elsewhere, but not when it comes to my brain being able to reposition things. Okay, so now, here we go, we got there in the end. Now we have some sea. This is cute. And I'm just trying to work out, I think I may pull these over somewhat and then snip out that wave for the little boat to sit on. So let's just take that one off. And now I'm going to want a nice ink just to take that edge round, and I think I'm going to go with Faded Jeans. Similar-ish sort of blue. I'm going to take my little blendy sponge, which feels very old. I bought all of my oxides when they very first came out. I was absolutely thrilled to bits, and I still love them very much. It's they're so versatile. Really enjoy using them. Okay, and on this, I'm just going to drag. I'll pull you on the close-up so you can sort of see. I haven't done anything on this part here. So obviously there's tiny little bits of white because this is printed paper. Now I've just dragged across from those, and by pulling the ink over, it makes it just a little bit more cohesive. I don't really know how else to explain it, but it just ties everything together. There we go. Anyway, that's done. I'll pop that to one side because I will go around the edges as well. So let's I just need to decide how much sky I want to have. But I do want it to look like a steamboat, so it needs to be like chug, chug, chug as it goes along. And yeah, I think because we're going to stamp the sentiment as well, I only want to have a bit of sea. So I think if we go about here-ish, I'll measure it after I've chopped it in case you want to replicate. And now, right, so this I'm going to put to fight another day. And now, I do like the idea of the boat being quite a ways over here. So, and then I think my sentiment, all aboard, is still going to fit quite nicely over the top of the boat. So I'm essentially going to stick this to this side. Now, my piece of patterned paper, from bottom to the bottom of the first wave is 1.5 inches, and then you've got about 1/4 of an inch-ish of wave, just in case anybody else wanted to have a go. I'm going to cover the back, including all of the little spikes, in glue, making sure I go and give a good along the bottom as well. And I'd made my mind up that I was going to tuck this side into that corner. Oh, itchy nose. That means something, doesn't it? Does it mean you're coming into money? Because that'd be really handy. Oh, right. Okay. Move my little clouds. Throw my pencil on the floor. And now I'm going to trim that away. Okay, so because I've still got my ink tool out, I'm going to drag that around all of the edge of the pattern paper, and it just takes the starkness away from the anchors and stops it from looking like such an edge. I don't really know how else to explain that. But, you know, our little toot, toot, toot. And then, all aboard. I'm going to do my stamping before I stick on my lovely 3D cabochons. Because once they're stuck, then it becomes really tricky to try and stamp. So I'm going to grab the Misty. But this would be really great if you're wanting to send someone, you know, like a happy holidays card or even a birthday card. And this would be great for a child or an adult if they're a sailor or someone that just loves to travel generally. And it's fun. I love using paper and ephemera and stamps. It's great, but I also really enjoy. Yes, it was. I really enjoy. Sorry, Mary, you've made my day. Apparently, an itchy nose means you're going to kiss a fool. Them's the facts. I can't even remember what I was saying now because I was laughing. Can't have been important. Oh, it was about who to give the card to, wasn't it? This is, yeah, it's really nice to have a bit of variety in what I use, because stamps, paper and ink, obviously it's all great, it's fun, there are so many different ways to be creative, but I do really enjoy using things that you wouldn't necessarily look at and go, oh, that'd look lovely on a card. It's, I find it a bit more of a challenge. And it means you make some really fun cards that are a bit weird, which suits me down to the ground. Okay, I'm going to leave that stamp in there and then look for it later. So, all aboard. Chug, chug, chug. Or I could just spread them out like they are actual clouds. I kind of like the look that they're on their way. So, I now need to obviously glue those down, but I need to create the look of a sky. I'm gonna have to be naughty and get my cloud stencil out, and I know what I'm going to do with this. I'm actually going to ink blend. What am I doing? I'm an autopilot. Right, I'm going to ink blend some tumbled glass. My messy mat. Where's my messy mat? Because now that I've made this, I'm going to be doing this directly onto my card base. I don't want to mess this up. So I'm going to tap off a little. And I'm just going to, very gently, I just want to make it not white. And I'm not trying to get a super smooth blend. I'm happy for there to be not necessarily so much smudges, but bits where I'm being very careful over the sentiment, because this does take a while to dry. In fact, the pouncing actually looks quite good. We're pouncing. Okay. So I've pounced a fair bit there. Let's just pop a bit more. I'm afraid, because we have lights that you can see from the moon in here, that all of my pale ink colours don't show so well, but perhaps on the close-up you'll be able to see what I've done. So it's not so much blended as it is apply ink and try to make it non-pattern like. So what I'm going to do is get these out of my way. I'm going to have a very quick look because I'm quite sure that I have some fun glitter. Sorry about this, everyone. Again, this is what happens when you don't particularly plan your video. And you have to have a very quick look. I know what it is exactly that I want, and it's just a case of trying to put my hand on it. That is a gel. That's not going to work. But I have essentially, over the years, accumulated far too many items that I very rarely use. So I just thought if I pull them out, we can... Aha! I found it. So this, sorry about that, everyone. Rummaging around. I haven't used this for probably 5 years, so let's hope it works. I'm going to open this up and it'll all be rock hard. We'll find out in a minute, won't we? Now, it's not looking great, to be honest. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Okay, so this needs some distilled... There is ways to revive it, but we're not going to manage that today, are we? That's really thrown a spanner in the works, because you don't really get blue clouds, do you? Not so much. Okay, well, with that being the case, how could I make this work? Let's try it with this. Let's see how this one wants to work. I don't think I've ever opened this, so we should be safe. So this is a metallics gel. And what I'm going to do is selectively, in fact, let's get some tape. Let's be proper. Where's my tape gone? It's probably stolen it, haven't you? Where is it? Wait, where's my tape? Purple tape, or the blue one. Blue one's better, please. Thank you, dear. Right, so this is new tape, so I have to be careful with this because it will grab and tear. And right before I do my live videos, I have to put hand cream on. It's very dry here. So this actually does help somewhat. Now, I'm going to tape my card down, and then I'm going to tape my stencil down as well. I don't have to worry too much about how sticky the tape is on the stencil, because it's plastic, so it will just tear away. So, clean-ish spatula is the idea. Oh God, right. Okay, so this really is a gel. It's going to need some... Are you going to play, or am I going to... This is like... I'm worried I'm going to break my trowel. So we're going to... You know what? Let's just try it. What's the worst that could happen? We have a happy mistake we have to fix. So, holding your stencil flat, I'm using both my fingers either side to keep it taut. And I'm just going to drag this clay. Now, I'm not sure, maybe this is how this product comes, or maybe I've had it too long and it's got hard over time, which could also definitely be the case. And I am scratching it through this stencil. Now, thankfully, our stencils are, I'm going to dig it out of there. I should have put tape on top of my sentiment. Don't make that mistake if you're doing this. Thankfully, this stencil, when we tested it, it really will stand up to being boshed about a bit. So, okay, we've got a few clouds added now, I think. Blimey, it is like a putty. The person that receives this card will be like, oh, that's really pretty. How did you do that? And be like, with a lot of elbow grease. Okay. Avoiding the sentiment. A really easy way to avoid a sentiment or something like that is to actually put tape over the sentiment before you put the stencil down. Okay, I'm going to call that done because it's hurting my fingers. So I've had enough. But in theory, I have to wash that. Otherwise that'd be like cement. In theory, we can pull this up and that does actually look really cool. I'm really happy with that. And it is a really nice pearlescent. I'm sure the product is fabulous when you first get it. But that needs to be washed. Can I just give that to you so I don't put something on it? Thank you. Right. I am also at this point going to try very hard to get that bit of paste off of my sentiment. There we go. That's fine. And if there are other bits, like there is obviously some tiny bits down here that I didn't quite manage to get. So I'm just going to clean those up a little bit. But I'm actually really quite pleased with how that smooth. Use my finger for that. I'll have to scrub later. But I'm really pleased with that. I think with the little bit of blue in the background, that's made that fun. So let's now refit all of our little pieces. And so that one has to go there where there's a big gap. And there and there. Should have done something a little bit extra down there because there's a bit of a line. What can I pop down here? What I'm going to have to do is take the stencil back, please, dear. I can't leave a line like that. It's that's made me want to twitch. So I'm going to move all of these out of the way and reposition. Gosh. Okay, and now I'm just going to pick one of these clouds and drag through it so that okay, we're there. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, you can take those back. And I just need to scrape off what I managed to get on the waves. Honestly, quit while you're behind. Just stop it. But that does feel a bit better now because otherwise it was a bit linear. But we have the boat and then we're going to attach these down. So to attach, I'm going to use a glue dot and a load of glue, I think, because, oh no, what's going on here? Oh yeah, I broke this a few years ago. So I'm not really sure how. Let's just get rid of that bit because that's just irritating. And glue dots I find are fabulous. I use them for ribbons, any of the things that are not paper or cardboard, essentially. So I'm going to pop a couple of those on. 3. And then eek, stick it to my fingernail. I don't know about anyone else here, but I really struggle with dirty hands, so I shouldn't have made such a messy card. So we've still 2 cards to go. I'm going to be sitting here twitching for the rest of this. Right, so that's down. And now the clouds. I'm going to put a glue dot on each of the clouds and then glue the rest of them. I'm going to pick it off of here. 1, 2. I appreciate that I'm going a little bit off list today, and that does mean that we take longer. So I hope that I am making up for cancelling last week's. Right, let's get some glue on here. Now, because this is all wet, I'm going to have to be quite careful about my placement. I'm going to pop that one in that gap. And then these 2 are just sort of going to come up and away. That's fine. So I will get a load of glue on, and you as well at the same time, because then I can hover them and position them together. And now, as I had done on the sea, I'm just going to drag in a little bit of that tumbled glass around the outer edge. So, I'm going to call this card done. It's not one of my normal ones, but it's been a lot of fun. Right, so we have now got 3 done. So I need to do 2 more. And I will try to make these more flashy because I'm being asked to. I get in trouble. Now, I am going to take a card front. We're going to do some stamping here. Oh, that's not, that's a base. Where are all my panels gone? You know what, we'll use this, it's fine. There we go, we've now got a panel. Okay, so when, that's a bit of a peel off on that piece of paper there, typical. Right, when I designed these, this frame, when you have anything that is a hollow or could get stretched, the best way to get it to its true positioning is drop it. Just drop it and it will kind of correct itself. If you try and tweak and pull, it will, you'll be able to make it into a different shape if you want to. But the easiest way is to just sort of dismiss it, make it go away. Good. So we're going to stamp this, and we're going to stamp this in some alcohol marker friendly. I'm going to do a little bit of colouring. So Liam is going to pass me up my olives, which, yeah, that's it, down there. In fact, the frame, yeah, I don't know where we're going to put them. Good luck working that out. Both of our little chaps fit within this frame. And that wasn't an accident, but I'm going to offset them slightly. And Steamboat Willie at the helm also fits within the frame as well. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do a very gentle, I need my other Misty, I've got it there, fine. I'm going to stamp the frame in a very pale blue so that I know where the frame is going to go. It's not going to stay this colour, it doesn't matter what colour it is, it's just so that I know where it is. And now I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to move that out because I'm going to want to use that again. And I need it to be in exactly the same spot. So I'm going to use my other Misty, which I don't use as often because it's bigger, but my original. And I am going to now position these chaps within the frame, and I'm actually going to stamp them slightly over the edge of the frame so that Peg Leg Pete's fingers are going to be lost in the frame, and so that Steamboat Willie's feet, hands and the top of his ear are just slightly on the frame as well. So pick that up. Now I'm using Memento because Memento is really good with alcohol markers. And the reason that I'm using the Misty is because often I stamp in VersaFine, which is lovely, but you can get away with a single inking with VersaFine usually. So stampy stampy. And it's not done badly considering that's the first time I've used them, but well, at least Peg Leg Pete was brand new. Now, Peg Leg Pete wears blue pants or trousers, but pants if you're here. Oh, Captain Pete. Well, you can blame Liam for that. He told me it was Peg Leg Pete. Thank you, Nedra. Don't like to be making a fool of myself. Right, make sure that's pushed in and stamp it again. Oh, wow. I really love these images. They are very, very, very cute. I'm going in for a third because I want them to be really crisp. But okay, really lovely crisp images. I'm leaving them in there just for now until until the card is finished. I often would prefer to keep the stamps in the Misty in case I wanted to heat emboss them in black, because that's a really lovely way to get that true black, and we have got Raven Black in stock, haven't we? Our black embossing powder, which is perfect for things like this. But if I look at my ephemera, I am going to go with a nice deep red. Could you pass over the reds, please? And then blues. Reds and then the blues, please. Thanks. And I'm going to do some super simple blended colouring. So 1.5 and 2.4 for the trousers. What I do is not special. I colour with the lighter colour to lay down. It's also important, I'm actually going to cover straight over those buttons. It's actually important as well to make sure that you let your ink dry before you drag too hard. Oh, it was both, okay. And now I'm just going around those edges with this darker one, just dabbing a little in, and then I'll go back with the lighter shade and touch over top. The shoes are white, and the cap, I'm actually going to make the cap red because I want to, basically. It's going to be a matchy outfit. In fact, the inside, we can make the inside dark because of shadow. So we're just going to fill that all in, and then I'm going to touch a bit of dark on either side just to give the hint of some shape. And then, there we go. I'm going to, oh, his tongue, let's make his, didn't need that anyway, it's only a cap. And then red little tongue. And then I'm going to need a nice brown for the cane. I was joking, I do need that lid, please. And if you are an Olo user, the brown that I'm using for the cane is OR 7.6, called Light Walnut. I've managed to get it on my finger now. And then R1.5 is Lingonberry, and R2.4 is Raspberry, and that's the lid that Liam's looking for. It looks like that, but it's got a darker red tip. Managed to ping that somewhere. Okay, and now for Captain Pete, I'm going to use, actually going to make him a bit darker. So I'm going to go for B 4.6 and 4.7. Thank you, dear. With how dry it is here, I loathe leaving the caps off of my pens. And then, so 4.6, just going to cover in the pale colour. And then come over with the deeper colour. Sorry, this is the sort of part that I would speed up when I'm making a video, because talking and colouring at the same time I find very challenging. Oh, and there's a little strap there of his dungarees. I find it very challenging. It must be really boring. Oh, I've just been notified that I've been going for 2 hours, so I do apologise, everyone. But it's just, I'm just going around the edges and the particularly round parts with this darker shade. So I'm going to go around the back of his cap, the underside of his cap, and around that rotund tummy, and where there are the creases. And then, having done the darker colour again, I'm going back to the B 4.6, which is the blueberry, and I'm just dotting. Because we're only using 2 colours, because the images are quite small, you can get away with just the 2. And splodge splodge. And I'm going to call that done. Now, the walnuts that I had out for the cane, I am also going to do his shoes in that. Just so that he's got a little bit of a brown boot, although he is going to need a little more tone in that. So I'm just going to drop in an OR 3.8 just to go around the underside where the sun wouldn't get to so easily. Just drop in a tiny amount and then dot, just dabbing my pen just to take that harsh edge off. Does that make sense? Hope so. Even as we are going to be leaving his shoes white, I am going to pop in a bit of cool grey, which is cool grey 1. And where I just dabbed those darker colours in, I'm going to do just the same, just to add a bit of shading, to make those shoes look 3D, and I'm going to use my 0, which is the colourless blender, to dot. And those tiny areas where I may have been chatting at the same time as colouring, I can just push that colour back in, like up here near his eyebrow. Just keep working back and forth. And this is why you need to make sure that your ink is really dry, because I am saturating doing that. But we now have our 2 characters, although I do feel like I want to add a little bit of face colour. Can I have that pot, please? Thank you. So we're just going to pop, this is OR2, which is scallop. So I'm just going to drop a little bit of scallop in on Captain Pete. I'm not going to do it on Steamboat Willie, because Steamboat Willie has got a white face. But there is also a red tongue missing there. Right, okay, there's too many pens on my desk now. Thank you. Right, so we've now got a little stamped and coloured image, and I'm going to revisit the frame. Oh, I can pop my little colour reference back. So, oh, I've only just painted my nails as well, and I've got alcohol marker on them now. Oh, it is coming off. Well, there we go. That's good to know, isn't it? Okay. His buttons. Yeah, I need to do his buttons, don't I? Gonna make them brown. I know they're supposed to be gold, but I did cover over them and making them. I could actually go in with a gold gel pen. That would work, wouldn't it? Because that will sit on top. Maybe we'll do that at the end. So now we're back to the frame. And because I've finished doing all of my colouring, I'm actually happy to use my VersaFine. I used the blue just so that I knew where it was, and I wanted to make sure that they kind of came out. But I am going to load this up with my lovely super black okay. And we go again. I've somehow managed to get an ink smudge within the frame. I think I managed to do that earlier. So I'm going to have to try and be creative to come up with something to cover it. It's just below Steamboat Willie's ear. So make sure that's in. Let's give this a nice press. As I say, we could heat emboss this frame, so we could make it silver or gold. We could make it a really nice deep blue or bright red. But as you can see now, that looks really good fun. So I'm going to pull that out. Oh, try and get that out of the way. I am going to... How am I going to do this? I need pencils, really, but they're kind of buried and not very well organised. So we're going to improvise. What do we have that is not buried that we can get our hands on? Okay. We'll try these. Spectrum Noir metallic pencils. I'm being laughed at. All I want to do is create a little bit of ground and a little bit of sky. I've just moved my mat now, haven't I? Gosh, sorry. So ground, I would like some green for grass, and for sky, I would like some blue. And I am just going to scratch in some colour. I'm not shading. There is, as you can see, nothing fancy. These pencils don't blend. They are metallic. And of course, pressure can change your amount. Yeah, we can come in close. So if you've been with me for 100 years, you may actually even have these pencils, because we used to be a stockist, which is why I have some. But what I am doing is I'm not going all the way up to Captain Pete or Steamboat Willie's body or feet. By leaving a little white area around them, it sort of lifts them slightly. And now that I've got a good bit of colour that way, I'm going to try and make it actually look like grass now in a few places by just popping a few tufty bits. Now, I appreciate they should probably be on the bow of a boat because they are sailors after all, but they have to get their sandwiches from somewhere, so maybe they go to the park to get them. So we have green, and now this is a super pale blue, which again I'm just going to drop it. I'm just having some colour. I didn't want the white expanse, and it's been a very long time since I've actually used colouring pencils or done any colouring really. I don't do it anywhere near enough. And this is just to show you that the stamp set that comes as part of the kit, they're really easy to use. You don't, there's been no fancy colouring on my part here. I have picked up a pack of 12 pencils. I'm not doing any blending. It's just a, and now I'm going to, oh, I know what I'm going to do. Where's my messy stencil, please? Thank you. No, this is very messy. Don't try this at home unless you're really keen. I'm going to use a darker blue. To go around the edge, and I'm not filling it in. I'm not colouring it. I'm just using one of the clouds to. Oh, it's stuck to my finger now. There we go, I've got a couple of clouds I've just scribbled in. There you go. And now I will continue with my very pale blue. And, okay, I've now got a really lovely focal point. They can go there. And I've managed to smudge all around the edge, which is why you do it on a panel and you don't go straight onto your card front. Now, I was considering using a postage die, but I think I actually just want to use a square. I think the square is going to look really nice. Yes. So, going to pop this down. I had loads of tape a minute ago, now I can't see any of it. Turn that on. Get the plates. I'm not sure actually if I've mentioned, but not next weekend, but the weekend after I'm going to be in Edmonton at Carnival. So we did the Carnival in Calgary last month and we had so much fun that we're going to go again. And I'm very much looking forward to it. It was a lot of fun. So I'm really hopeful that I'm going to get to meet some more of our lovelies, because I know that we have some further north. And it would be really nice to be able to meet some of you. So if you're going to be around, If you're not cropping, then you can go for the day to just shop and come and say hello. But yes, I'm just making sure that everybody's aware that we're going to be there, because I haven't actually shared that anywhere. I was going to go and crop myself, but we had such a good time in Calgary, we decided to do it again. Right, so this is a top fold card at 5.5. And I want to make it pop. Right, so Carnival, Lisa, is essentially a very large crop. It used to be run by a magazine called Creative Scrapbooker magazine, but they retired their magazine in December, and another craft store in Edmonton, actually, Scrap Addicts, took over the event, and this was their first year, and they did an absolutely amazing job of it. It was really good. All the feedback that I've heard from people that attended have said how much they enjoyed it. And so essentially you crop in the middle, and then you, around the edge of the arena, are lots of pop-up shops and booths. So it's in Sherwood Park, right by Edmonton. It's like one of the sort of suburb towns. And it's the weekend of the can you get a calendar up, please? 22nd, I think. It's not, as I say, 2 weekends from now. And we had our first pop-up shop at the Calgary one, and it went well, so we're doing it again. Right. Oh, it's so pretty. And this makes Steamboat Willie pop. So we're going to... They did, didn't they, Shelley? Shelley attended with us, and they did a lovely job. And I actually got to meet a few. I got to meet... We've got Mary with us today. We had a nice little chat. Now, I'm going to take a bigger square. Yes, take a bigger square. This is some of the red mirror from the add-on specialty bundle. Scissors. Excuse my awkward hands. And then I'm going to cut this. If I can find my plates, yes I can. Twist that ever so slightly. I'm going to run this through. Now, go in the bin, save that one for later. Okay, so we now have a frame for our frame. There's like a triple framing. And then I'm going to take the blue. I need a nice blue. And so I think actually faded jeans is quite good colour for that. And I'm going to take my little block, and I'm going to take the solid stars. I'm not actually going to put a sentiment on this one, because I think it's the sort of card that it could be for anything, couldn't it? It looks like he's greeting and saying hello. So I'm just going to leave it, but because I've done the frame around the centerpiece in that red, I'm pulling the blue from Captain Pete's trousers and hat to add the stars. And I'm just randoming them. Sorry, do excuse me. Trying not to put them in lines or two equal apart from each other. And now I'm going to take the smaller one. I tend to do this, I flip my block over and then fill in some of the gaps, essentially. And usually I would start by going near the ones that I have just stamped. I do a close one and then I do a further away one so that it makes a bit of a triangle, but not an equilateral. Don't make it too regular because otherwise it looks a bit weird. Sorry, I've got a tiggle. But thankfully the geese have quietened down. We've got some Canadian geese. And my gosh, they've been fighting and arguing like no one's business of late. Couple more. So when you've used all your pattern paper, fear not, because you can create your own. One of the reasons that I really like having tiny stamps. So I think you can go like this. I'm very pleased. Now I'm going to use my minimal lift, my big mama that is now very, very small. And I'm going to attach, and because this cardstock has curled somewhat in the dry, I'm going to very generously cover the back over so that, oh dear, I've managed to stick that on top of itself. That's not going to work at all, is it? There we go. So that when I attach this onto the front, it's not going to keep trying to bend. So slightly down from the top, but in the middle from left to right. And then I'm going to do exactly the same. And this is one of the reasons why I don't stamp onto a card base if I know that I'm going to colour. It needs to be in a on a different sheet so that it can be attached. And sometimes I will just colour onto a card panel and stick that whole card panel onto a card. And that also does work well. But for this one, I thought it would be nice to include a little lift and a metallic frame. Now, I have got lots of really cute stamps with a tiny little hello, which would work really. In fact, I've got one on my desk somewhere. I'm just trying to think where it's in that basket. Please. Is there a stamp set that you can see that I've used? No. What have I managed to do with that one then? Is it behind me? No. Okay, not to worry. It's just because I've been using it so much. I thought it wouldn't be far, but apparently it is. It's anybody's guess where it could be, isn't it? It's okay. I shouldn't be sharing it anyway because it's from our Make It Manly class. It's okay. I'm going to leave it as it is, everybody. But this, yeah, there is a little gap here for a very cute little sentiment. I'll show you the sentiment that I was thinking of. It's here. Hello. And it's a really great size to fit and that you could tuck somewhere small. But anyway, oh dear, so that's all of that. So we're actually on card 4 now. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to leave this one on the top, even though it did have a pile of stuff on it, so that can dry. Right, last card, and I am actually going to keep this one like a flash card. This is going to be a quick one. I've just got to put my stamps back so that I know where I'm going to find them. So, here we go. Okay, let's move you out of the way. I'm just trying to think what it is that I haven't used from the kit so that I can offer some inspiration. Is there an item in the kits that anybody would really like to see used? Because this is the time to get me to make with it. I'm just trying to find where the rest of my bits and pieces are. What have we got in here that I should... Let's have a go at using this die. Let's go with, let's use some of the green, shall we? I think the mint is going to look fun. So I'm going to run this die through a couple of times actually. Trying to work out which way we go. I need this out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to cut this into card panels, which means this way it needs to be cut at 4 1/4. And then this one at 5 1/2. I'm going to leave this one long because this is longer than the panels. So I'm just going to do a few of these and see how we end up going. Fabulous. So I'm, as you can see, very carefully cutting out some pieces of this green cardstock. I must also say at this point, whilst I am just doing something that doesn't require an enormous amount of concentration, if you could please hit like on this video, it would mean a lot to us. It means that the algorithm pushes us around a little bit, and it means that new people may catch our videos, which obviously new people means maybe new customers, new followers, new people to give me suggestions and tell me when I'm doing it wrong. Right, going to create a card base, scoring at 5 1/2. Fold that over and burnish. There we go. So we have a card base. Now we're going to do a little bit of die cutting. Going to lay my piece of cardstock down and then die cut these. These tickets are lots of fun as well. So we've done some stamping, we've done some die cutting, we've done some stenciling. We've mixed mediaed it a little bit by using different mediums, pencils and alcohol markers, and some sort of deco foil, metallics gel. What else have we done? Oh, we used cork, so we've changed the product up a little bit. We've used pattern paper and we've created our own. I think we've moved around a little bit, haven't we? We've managed to do a little bit. Right, 2, and now the final one. Let's get this one through. Now, I'm going to feel like a monochromatic card is about to come through now. So we've got 3 die cut tickets. For the green, I'm not quite sure. Cracked pistachio, oh, and salvage patina. I'm going to try these and just have a little look. I think cracked pistachio is probably going to be better, but evergreen bough might work as well. I want it to be just a bit darker. Oh, evergreen bough is probably the winner. Definitely not salvage patina, so we'll put that back. We'll have a look. Okay, so as you can see with this die, when you push it through, it doesn't actually cut off the end. So if we'd wanted to, we could have lined this up like this behind, and then you can just keep going. So you could actually make an enormous amount of tickets. And on these, you could write little IOUs, and you could make it, you know, like a little gift type thing. But as it happens, I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to snip those ends off, and then in turn the sides will fall away, and just poke out those tiny bits if they're still remaining. So I have 4, and then 8, and then this makes it 12, and I think we should be able to work with 12, shouldn't we? Now let's get all of this nonsense in the bin. And no sponge. On the table in the dining room, there is a pack of sponges, please, dear. I think the cracked pistachio is going to be too close in colour, and it's not actually going to add any depth. So I think I'm going to go with the evergreen bough. Let's just poke these little bits out whilst I am waiting. Brilliant, thank you. Okay, oh, brand new sponge, big day. They're all poked out, and now these. Now these do bend really nicely and tear, which looks really cool. So you have got that as an option. Let me just, desk has become a bit of a, it's all become a little bit messy. Sorry about this, everyone. But if we don't do the cleanup, it gets even worse. So I'm now going to get my, this blending tool is very well loved, so much so that the stick is now gone. So I have to hold it so that the staple releases. Right, so let's get a bit of ink going on over here. And I'm going to start dragging it around. All I want to do is just distress these slightly so they don't look quite so fresh die cut. And I can bend them to get a bit of ink around the edges of each ticket. And just doing this will completely change the look of them. And I'm going right off the colour piece here, but just to show you the difference on the close-up between these two. So this one I've just distressed slightly, and this is the one that's fresh die cut. The fresh die cut looks lovely, but these almost look like authentic tickets already. So I'm just going to do that for each of these. So I'm going round all of the edges, and as you can see, I am not taking any great care. I don't mind if a bit of extra green goes across the ticket, or if there's a part that hasn't got a lot of ink at all. All I'm trying to do is add a little bit of body and texture to the tickets so that they're not just flat. Hope that. I'm not interested in doing anything too super time consuming because I'll end up getting in trouble as well. Okay, so we are very nearly there. Okay, so I've now got a load of tickets and I have managed to blend them with the evergreen. And now it's just going to be a case of deciding do we want ephemera? If so, this is a good time to choose. And the other thing that we can do, which is good fun, is see if there is something that we want to cut from the paper, because these papers have so many icons in. It was one of the things that I did with the studio kit, was I took one of the images and made it a topper, made it a focal point. It was this piece of paper. I took this particular one. And just having one final check through here. I think, is that, I thought I had a parrot. I do have a parrot. So let's have a parrot. And let's decorate our tickets. And we're going to decorate them with the stars. Start with the big. And I'm going to do the big in the evergreen bow. And to do this and to get it done in a timely fashion, I'm going to sort of line them all up and stamp. And I'm going to go not in any particular order or pattern, it's just stamp. Get the stars onto the tickets. Even the camera wants me to stop. Right. Going over the edge makes a big difference. And having some centralised, some closer, some spread apart. Just when you start to land it, commit it. Don't hesitate, because what can happen then is you get a smudge. And a smudge, the eye will come towards. So we've got a load of stars now on our tickets. I'm now going to get the smallest solid. I'm going to stamp those in black. So where's my VersaFine? There it is. And that's just to bring a bit of additional colour or contrast. So it's not going to be fully monochromatic. But you see that or that. And it's whichever look you prefer. If you're recreating this one, you get to choose what is it that you think is going to make it look best. And when I'm adding these, oh gosh, completely missed the stamp there. I'm trying to make sure that the amount of stars on each ticket is an odd number. So 3, 5. I'm hoping that is translating across. Okay. Nearly there. One, let's pop one down here as well. Okay. So I've made a right filthy mess out of that now. Got ink everywhere. Mini lottery ticket. Yeah. Yeah, and the way that these all tear up, they look brilliant when they're done. But I want to use these as backgrounds, so got to be so, look how dirty my hands are. Looking forward to washing them. Right, so let's I'm not very good at doing the whole random thing. Sure. So now I want to add my parrot. I'm going to use some vellum, which, oh, he's already hopped up. It was ready for the challenge. Oh, you know what? I don't need vellum. I've changed my mind. Well done, though. But I'm going to use some of this. How cute is this, the silver net? I want the silver net. And I'm going to need to... Oh, where's the bag? My kit bag gone? Buried. Can't have gone that far. Oh, here it is. So, I have a choice. Just thinking to land our little parrot. Oh, we can put his perch on a piece of beach or on a piece of the dark. Can't make my mind up with that. Has anyone got an idea? Which do they prefer? Do they prefer the table that the parrot's on to be out of the light wood or the dark wood? Doesn't need to be a lot. It's just that it feels a bit odd to have him floating so freely. It's a bit dangerous, isn't it? We're going with the dark. We're going with the dark. Okay. So we've got tickets, we've got netting, and then we've got dark. Okay. Oh, dark's winning. I'm calling it now. Thank you everyone for voting. Right, so I'm going to stick down my tickets and I'm actually going to tear off the bottom one from each of these because they're going to get covered over by that dark. And I may not use them, but I definitely can't use them if I've glued them down. So let's get some, no, before I do that, very quickly, I'm going to drag from the edge from here in. I want the card base to remain white, or as white as it can when it's got my dirty fingerprints all over it. But I want to pull some of that green in. It just helps to tie together. Right, now I can stick my ticket on this side. My fingers are gross. I'm going to end up ruining this project. I can see it already happening. And now these two in the crisscross. So I'm going to cover this one. And I'm going to cover this one. And I'm going to poke the glue in there. Making sure that the ends go over the top of the card. Oh my goodness, filthy hands. Then I'm going to run this on the top all the way to behind the brown. So I'm just going to take that bottom bit off because it's too sparkly to hide behind the brown. Now we're going to stick this. The netting looks like a silver cage sort of. Baby wipes. Yeah, I do actually. Have we got any baby wipes? Need to do something. My fingers are filthy. Oh, disinfectant. There we go. Okay, go one of those then. Sorry everyone, but I'm going to end up putting fingerprints and nasties where I don't want them to go, and this is going to make my hands very sad because disinfecting wipe. So it's all well and good playing with ink, isn't it? Until it gets glossy and dirty and all over the place. And I really have managed to get it everywhere. Sorry, little clean up crew break just for a moment. Don't think this mat's probably ever been so clean. Oh, that's gross. That was all ink from today. Promise. Right, thankfully, that is going to dry really quick. I should stop looking at it, that will help. Right, well at least my fingers are now dry. And I'm just, this is a self-adhesive vinyl. Thank you, Nedra. It's very difficult to get up and clean when it would be leaving dead air. So I'm folding the corner over so that it loosens that release paper at the back. Tweezers might, in fact, I'm going to use tweezers. Tweezers are going to be my friend here, I've decided, because I don't want to put a big fold. If you do a big corner, then you run the risk of actually damaging. And I want to be able to use this corner. So now I'm going to bring my card back in that's covered in all sorts of fingerprints. And I'm going to get this tiny corner that I've folded over. And on the close-up camera, it'll be easier to see. I'm going to stick it here in this bottom corner. Look at the state of this. It's awful. Thankfully, I'm sticking over it. But I've exposed that bottom corner. So now I'm going to line up on the bottom and the side. And when I'm happy that I'm in the right position, I am going to press down on that corner so that it sticks. I'm going to lay my netting where I want it to go, which is a little bit behind and up to the top of the card. So that's there, that's where that needs to be. And now I flip it over and I'm going to pull away. I'm going to leave that, oh, just sat still. I am going to pull away the rest of this release to a point and then fold it. Just folded a little section in. Now I'm going to make sure this is in the right spot. Oh, you so-and-so. Right, that wasn't sticking as well as I'd hoped it to. But you get the technique. I am happy enough to do this without the little cheat of it holding. But the reason that is because I wanted it to also attach onto the net. And now I can peel this back here, sticking it as I go with my fingers, burnishing it down. And now at this point, I'm going to use the back of the card as a guide as to where to cut my vinyl, because if you try to cut it beforehand, you may end up with a big chunk of white showing, and now that's still stuck on there. I'll get rid of that release, that can go in the bin, and I've got that little piece for later if I want it. Now, I am going to pop some glue behind this piece of netting, because again, vinyl and netting were not designed to hold on to one another. And yeah, we could make it a bird cage. We could put the bird behind it almost, couldn't we? But I don't want to. I'm going to put him on front. And I'm going to do the same with the foam squares on the bird, but I'm going to stick the net flat because I've got the net flat back here. So let's grab some foamies. And I'm just going to pop a few around in all of the spots that I think need the most support. So the far extremities, and then a few in the middle. And then I can't tell you why the tickets and the parrot work. I just wanted to use the die, and all we did was create a backdrop. And then I'm just going to have a look as to where I'm going to be sticking. Yeah, so I am actually going to snip the bottom off. That's gone. And now I'm going to, as I did earlier, wet glue, and I'm going to put quite a big glob of wet glue on all of these, because I want it to sort of sink under the net as well. So, going to line up that cut. And now it's going to be a case of letting this dry with something heavy on it, because it's not going to want to dry nicely. It will, and it will hold really well once it's done. But if it's given half an opportunity to lift, it will. And the other thing that you can do is a little glue dot, and I will show you that. There is some chunky glitter up here. So I'm going to take a glue dot, fold it up a bit, and put it down behind where that chunky piece of glitter is. And I'm going to do the same over here as well, just to give it a bit of a stabling at the top. Fold it up a little bit and then pop it directly. And I've got another piece up here that I can use. So let's grab you, fold up that glue dot a bit. And now we've made a little parrot card with some tickets. And you could, if you wanted to, on the inside of your card, add a few tickets to the bottom or to the side or something. But yeah. Okay, so the cards we've made today in our 5, in a quite possibly a record-breaking not flash, are these. We've got some glorious cards that have been made by the design team. And I thought it would be nice to try to include some of the unusual bits and pieces that we've got in the kit. And in making some odd things, I really hope you've enjoyed it. These are all from the Steamboat Willie card kit. You know, the cork pieces, the boat, everything. A few dies I've added in. And obviously some ink and pencils, but we do have a couple of kits left, and we do have some studio kits left as well. That's another reason why the pile didn't seem as big, because I didn't show the studio cards at the beginning. It was like a mini crop. It's because it went on for so long. Sorry, Shelley. But yeah, these are the 5 cards that I've made, and yeah, using the charms, the ephemera, peel-offs, papers, stencil. Stencil wasn't included in the kit, but it's a really good one to have. The dies. I think the vinyl, we've managed the netting, we've managed to use lots of different bits and pieces. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this and that you've watched the design team videos, because their videos are really great. We've still got more coming, so I'm very much looking forward to that. We will be back on Thursday to do 10 cards in 20 minutes, or at least I'm going to try. And I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to assemble. I'm not going to have it all ready to go. I will make them. I may prepare the card bases somewhat, but I really hope you'll be able to join me. And until Thursday, please make something beautiful. Bye.